Hey, my name is Michael and welcome to my YouTube channel, Growth Mindset. Thank you for joining me today, and I think you will enjoy this video a lot. So on this channel, we talk a lot about financial freedom. There's different vehicles of actually achieving this path of success, commonly known as FIRE, financially independent and retire early. And I specialize in investing in real estate, and there's many reasons why you might want to as well. And the end goal really, you can take these different vehicle paths. You can invest in something that gives you a return, and you can use that to leverage to leave your day job. But I'm specifically focusing on real estate because we all know that real estate has so many benefits. It's been gaining a lot of traction over the 10 years, especially since the housing market crash. There's been many investors taking a part in this opportunity and actually reaching financial freedom. So I want you to listen up closely today on this video, and I hope you learn a lot and go over the benefits of why real estate is an incredibly advantageous asset class. Hope you enjoy. So we got the top real estate perks, and forgive me for my my messy writing here. It's besides the point. I'm just sharing you guys my topics, and I'll try to say it out loud as I'm writing it so you understand what I'm writing here. But so the first and most probably the forgotten perk from investing in real estate is actually leverage. And why do I say forgotten? Like why do people not really acknowledge this or think about it? I think it's because a lot of people aren't, if they're not doing real estate, they don't understand what this means. And so let me explain it to you maybe in basic terms. So when you're investing in something like a stock, you have to front 100% of your money to own a percentage of the share, right? And so you're collecting benefits, but you're putting 100% to get whatever return that's given you. Now, if you're investing in real estate, you're more often than not, you're gonna get a loan on that property, and that's gonna allow you to use leverage towards the deal, where on most cases, owning an investment property, you have to put down roughly 25% of the loan value of your own money into the deal. The extra 75% actually comes from the lender. Now, the thing is to keep in mind is that when you do this process, the owner, the one that has a title of the property or is signing on to the deal to leverage on the real estate transaction, is the one that actually collects the benefits of the real estate deal. And we're gonna go over those benefits as we continue down, but just keep in mind that when you do this transaction, you're collecting all the perks for less money down. That's why leverage is so valuable today, and I think people really need to listen up and think about it, how they can use this to their advantage. All right, so let's go over number 2. We all heard of this one before. It's called cash flow. All right, so there's many perks, again, that just come off of real estate. Cash flow is probably being one of the nicer perks that's unique versus other investment classes. Sure, there's dividends out there, but it's such a low percentage of your return that I would consider that negligible. So here again, guys, with cash flow, you're getting an additional payment on top of the amortization, so the payment down on the actual loan. Now the thing is, with cash flow, assuming you're doing, let's say, rental real estate properties, that goes into a different tax bucket. When you make cash flow and you're using, let's say, a property management company, now you're not participating actively on the deal to make the monthly cash flow. So what does that mean? Well, you're actually getting taxed much less because your cash flow is put into a different bucket of income than your normal W-2 job, or let's say if you're flipping houses. If you're making cash flow off of rental real estate, that's passive income, which is taxed much less, around 15% today in 2020. So cash flow is pretty easy to make if you can make the numbers right. Also, you're gonna have to have management for upkeep costs that go along with owning this property, but there's a lot of benefits for having the cash flow in general. You're making money while you sleep. We've heard this many times, guys. Now it actually becomes a reality when you're investing in real estate. So that's perk number 2. All right, perk number 3 is, I'm gonna say loan payoff. I could write amortization, but again, guys, my spelling and neatness is not the best. So loan payoff what I'm saying here is amortization. So you have debt on the property, right? So you used leverage to get the loan. So the bank, fronted you, let's say 75% of the deal, and your tenant is paying you every month. So they're paying rent, which is collecting towards your cash flow. In addition, you're also having to pay the first lien on the property, which is a loan. So you're getting that loan payoff. Now, this process of the loan payoff can actually take some time. It can be a 15-year loan, a 30-year loan. Depends on how you sign and negotiate with the lender. The thing is though, this actually creates generational wealth. I always recommend to not give up a property if you don't have to, unless you're making negative cash flow, month over month, and you're seeing big declines. And sometimes there's perks to actually hold on to that. You can claim it as a loss on your taxes and actually get deductions. But beyond that, having this loan payoff is huge, because not only are you reducing the balance on the bill and collecting generational wealth where someone is doing it for you, aka the renter, you're having a property that will eventually be owned free and clear. And you can do a lot of things with having equity in the property. That's a great way to do a cash out refinance and use that to leverage, again, as keyword from number one, to buy more properties. So you can kind of see how this cycle happens. If you get good deals, you can have someone pay off your property, you're collecting cash flow, which is saving into a bucket. You have enough equity, you do cash out refi, you go back to number one, leverage. So it just kind of grows and grows, and eventually you have an empire of properties. All right, number 4 here is tax deductions. So there's actually a lot of tax deductions that come with owning real estate. If you kind of follow the IRS and you really take a deep dive and look at it, the taxes and the IRS are just saying these are incentives for you if you follow what we want you to do. And so then you get a tax deduction. And I think a lot of people don't think about this. It might be a little bit too hard for them to process or do a really deep dive. So I encourage you to talk to an accountant or CPA, and talk about these tax deduction benefits. But there's a lot of benefits for owning real estate. An example is that if you own property management, you can write that off as a tax deduction towards your company, because that's a business aspect to run your entire company. In addition, there's things like, such as rehab costs and emergency expenses. And again, this can be itemized on your LLC if you have one, or a C Corp or an S Corp, and it goes against your properties. So you can write down these deductions for each transaction that goes towards your investment home. And there's a lot of tax deductions I think maybe that you just haven't thought about. Depreciation is a huge one that I think a lot of us don't consider or don't really appreciate to the full value. In 2020 there's this thing called bonus appreciation. So you can actually deduct 100% of the depreciation in that first year. This actually might go away with the new presidential election and whatnot, but something to consider down the road if you really want to collect a lot of deductions up front versus waiting the entire value of the home, which can be 27.5 years in a single family home, or you get into the 30-year mark if you're investing in apartments, so multifamily, aka commercial real estate. All right, so 5th one here might be super and critical for the market today, especially with money printing. I like to call it the inflation hedge. Now, what do I mean by inflation hedge? So, inflation happens every year. Some might say it's around 1 to 2% a year in the United States. And the thing is, if you own a property that's on a fixed loan, fixed debts, let's say you own an investment property that's on a 5% 15-year loan. Now, appreciation is going to happen over those 15 years of you owning the property. And so you're going to be paying that interest down over time, which falls back into the tax deduction for mortgage interest claims, which comes down as a benefit. But because the value of the property is going to continue to go up due to inflation, costs are going to go up due to inflation, but the amount of balance you own on the property remains the same over the life of the loan. Your actual felt or perceived value of paying the monthly mortgage actually goes down. So when you actually want to hedge against inflation, I always recommend to put your money into long-term fixed debt that will generate you a return on investment. And really, I'm really pointing to real estate because of the benefits that I'm listing here in this video. So let's give you a bonus one. It's called, I wouldn't actually use this on your numbers or analysis, but I call it appreciation. And so a lot of people like to calculate this when they're running their spreadsheets. I always try to calculate it outside of your daily note. It's just icing on the cake. Appreciation really just means the value of your home going up because of where trending markets are occurring. So, there's a lot of people moving in, the demand is going higher, so there is a appreciable perceived value of the property. This might also come with taxes going up, again, which things you can write off and claim on your, your LLC for your company. But this is going to help a lot too when you're trying to sell. So don't really count on this, but it always helps as nice icing on the cake when you're trying to make that next move. So, all right, guys, that's all I got for you. Hopefully, you learned a lot about the tax, perks from real estate. If you haven't considered it already, these are probably one of the 5 to 6 biggest perks that come along with investing in real estate, especially versus things outside of real estate, such as investing in stocks. You don't really get these type of perks. So, anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye.